So yesterday, after the multiplayer reveal event for Battlefield 6, Global Community Manager of Battlefield Kevin Johnson, also known as Total FPS, sent out a tweet saying that Battlefield Labs participants are now able to state that they have participated in Battlefield Labs and discuss their thoughts and opinions about their experience in the program and content. So the NDA has somewhat been lifted, and with that being said, I can officially confirm that I have been in Battlefield Labs since the end of April. So today I wanted to make a video sharing my experience playtesting Battlefield 6 for the past few months or so, how the program operated, all the content I was able to test, and just kind of bring you guys behind the scenes and give you all some cool information that I was able to gather during my time in the program so far, such as speaking one-on-one to developers, how we gave feedback to them, etc. But real quick, if you're enjoying the content around here, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'm a big Battlefield fan. It's pretty much the only game I play, and I've been with the franchise forever. So if you're excited for Battlefield 6, definitely stick around because there's going to be a ton of videos, streams, and content coming your way right here on the channel. Quick disclaimer, I'm still not allowed to show any footage, images, or screenshots from Battlefield Labs. I actually had a screenshot of a conversation I had with David Serlin, but unfortunately, I can't show you that. So you're gonna have to just take my word for it. And we will get to what David and I talked about later on in the video, so just hang on for that. Also, I can only share anything that happened before the 31st of July. Anything that happens after that date, which I'm guessing is going to be the testing for the Battle Royale mode, I will not be able to discuss, but just know I'm in there, I'm giving feedback to the developers, I'm testing, I'm doing my duty. My call to... no, I'm not gonna go there, but first things first, when you get access to Battlefield Labs, you get put into a Discord server called Battlefield Workshop. And this was a super cool experience for me, especially as a small creator, because there's some awesome dudes on that server, man. Whether that's other Battlefield creators that I've watched for a long time or developers. Look, I'm not going to call out anyone specifically because I don't think that's my place. I know the NDA is lifted, but if they want to reveal that they're in labs, I'll let them do that. Not me. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's kind of irrelevant, but the Discord server is set up pretty cool. You have general chats to talk with other play testers, FAQ, announcements, feedback channels, the whole shebang. It's organized pretty well. Now, the biggest fear I had, and probably a lot of you guys had when Battlefield Labs was first announced, was this idea that although the program sounded promising, how much feedback were the developers actually going to pay attention to or act upon? And I'll be honest, even after joining and before I got into my first play session, I was skeptical about that as well. But I'm happy to report the quantity and quality of feedback they collected from us was truly impressive. And here's how it worked. Every 2 weeks or so, we would have a play session. Sometimes we would get a heads up a week in advance. Other times, we wouldn't know actually until like the day before. It's actually funny. I don't know how many of you guys, kind of followed the leaks over the past couple of months, but most of the time I would find out we were having another play session on Reddit first from some dude leaking their invite email before they would officially even tell us in labs, which is kind of odd, but I also think they were trying to dodge leakers as much as they could, so they didn't want information just kind of hanging out in the open on these Discord channels for too long. Every playtest was a little bit different. Maps would change, game modes would change, and features would change. I was able to test the game on 3 maps over the past few months: Abbasid, Battery, and Capstone, which I now know were just code names for the maps Siege of Cairo, Iberian Offensive, and Liberty Peak. Something cool I'm lucky enough to share with you guys, however, were the game modes that we were able to test. I know a lot of people probably watched the multiplayer event yesterday where they played Conquest, Breakthrough, Domination, and Squad Deathmatch, which we did test as well in Battlefield Labs. Maybe not Squad Deathmatch. I don't think we did that one, but definitely the other ones. But in Labs, we had one session in particular that was super popular. Everyone in Labs had a blast. I think we all agreed afterwards in the playtesters chat that it was one of the best play sessions we had experienced all year, and the mode we played was Rush. Rush on Siege of Cairo, guys, is a blast. Actually, Rush in general in this game is sick as fuck, dude. Okay, I'm extremely excited to actually play this mode once the game officially drops in a more polished state. And I'm just so happy that Rush is finally back as a core mode for Battlefield. With the new destruction tech and the urban maps, This mode is genuinely an adrenaline rush, no pun intended, in Battlefield 6. For example, on the Battery or Iberian Offensive map, you would think you're safe capping an MCOM or disarming, and then the wall would get blown out behind you. When MCOMs would explode, they would kill anyone in the near vicinity, which I love personally. Who knows, that might change once the game drops. But yeah, guys, Rush was just explosive and chaotic in this game, and in a good way. The combat was focused, the flanking routes were fun, and they made sense. And yeah, guys, just Rush is back, boys, okay? If you're a fan of this mode, be excited, man. As a player whose favorite mode personally in Battlefield is Rush, I am genuinely super pumped up about Rush in Battlefield 6. Play sessions were usually only like 2 hours, which in my opinion was the perfect amount of time, especially when you were playing one map in one mode like over and over. And after each match, they would ask you to fill out a little in-game survey, which is kind of super basic. I think it just said something like, did you enjoy the match? Yes or no? You choose your answer, and then you just queue right up for the next match. During sessions, they would also message us on Discord when they were going to change maps or modes live during the session, which is actually pretty cool tech. Sometimes they would even change features mid-play session, such as removing a gadget or ability, or activating one mid-game, which we will get to in more detail in just a second. When a play session would end, we would all get updates via Discord that the session was over. We would then be directed to 4 to 5 questions that we were asked to write a paragraph response to. Example of these questions were stuff like, how effective was the assault class? Did the UI for customizing your weapons feel intuitive? Did the map you just play feel fun? Stuff like that. Those are the ones I remember right now off the top of my head. But depending on the play session, different questions and types of feedback would be requested from us testers. And I was surprised at how good the questions were. These weren't just like generic questions that didn't really have substance. You always felt like the feedback you were giving was important and relevant and mattered. You would also get emailed a survey after each play session with additional questions. These were usually 10 or so questions asking about either the class system, maps, UI, etc. And feedback was not always positive, boys, either, which is a good thing in my opinion. For example, I remember early on in some of my first play sessions, they were testing armor plates for multiplayer. Like they would turn them on mid-game and we would try them out, and then they would turn them off and we'd kind of just compare how they felt. Personally, I don't like mind them in 2042. I just kind of like accept that they're in there, but also I'm not necessarily a fan of them either. So when it was time to give feedback, the overwhelming consensus from the playtesters was to get rid of them. And so they did. They're gone. Okay, guys, they will not be in Battlefield 6 multiplayer because of the feedback from the labs program. Another play session, one of the most recent ones actually, they literally had to cancel and reschedule it because the servers like did not work at all. Like literally, dude, like they completely broke or something. They were trying server restarts, wide scale resets, and it just did not work at all. So they actually had to cancel the playtest and figure out what went wrong. And to some people that may sound really bad, and if someone at DICE is listening to this, I don't know, maybe they would be upset that I shared that, but I think that's overall like a good thing. Like they were able to learn from a catastrophic server failure with a group of playtesters under an NDA, not on the main stage during an open beta or even at launch day, where it would be like an absolute public disaster. Like, right, like we were the ones that had to deal with the server crash in Battlefield Labs, not the general public. And because of that, I'm more confident that they can iron out the bugs now instead of trying to do it when everything is live and on the line. But my favorite aspect of Battlefield Labs and giving feedback, however, was after some play sessions, the developers would hop in the chat and answer questions or even ask some of their own. And when I say developers, guys, respectfully, I'm not talking no random Joe in the chat, okay? I'm talking the likes of David Serland himself would be in the chat with us, directly replying to feedback and questions. And I think from an outsider's perspective, some people were worried that the people in labs weren't giving a good enough feedback, or we didn't care about the feedback because some of these guys that would leak shit online and Reddit and troll and stuff. But I promise you, that was a small minority because almost everyone I saw in there was giving their thoughts during and after each play session, and it was really good, thought out feedback. And what was really cool is how each person felt individually impactful at a feedback level. In fact, I actually had a few conversations with David Serland myself when I was giving him feedback on stuff like grenades, because on some of the earlier builds of labs, guys, the grenades were fucked up, bro. Okay, sorry, but they just were. They had this really weird mechanic where you had to hold the grenade button to throw it further, And maybe on surface level, that doesn't sound all that bad, but in game, guys, it was just really awkward. Like there was no visual indicators to how powered up your throw was. So because of that, it was extremely hard to understand how to angle a grenade at distance and be accurate. And I remember bringing it up to him and him replying to me personally in Discord about how he agreed with that feedback and how they would change it in a future build. So you're welcome, boys, okay? Grenades don't suck in Battlefield 6 now because of yours truly, okay? I'm half joking. Other playtesters were complaining about it as well, but I will say I am the one that got him to respond about it. So hey man, I'm just doing my part, okay, as a humble servant of the community. And oh boy, you guys would not believe the hell that was raised in that Battlefield Labs Discord chat when they came out with that first blog about the class system, okay? There was like hundreds, if not thousands of people freaking out in that Discord, putting L's in the chat. People were writing paragraphs why they thought it was a mistake. Playtesters started arguing with each other. David Serlin popped in and started talking to people and listening to feedback and giving his reasons why they had come up with the system over at the studio. Then, of course, people start freaking out about the dual primaries thing, which the jury is still out on that one, of course. But at first, all of us playtesters initially thought it was just a bug. Like, we didn't know that was an actual feature in the game until they confirmed it later down the road. And this is where it gets cool. So I'm going to say this next part allegedly, okay? Because I can't give you screenshots, which I do have. Dice, don't worry, I'm not posting anything, okay? And I don't want to start drama with this, so you can choose to believe me or not. I don't know why I would lie about this, but anyways, David Serlin allegedly replied to me about it in the general chat and told me he was actually very much against the dual primary system at first as well. But after they played it and prototyped and he experienced it in the game through testing, he told me he started to enjoy it, although it needed a lot of balancing to his admission. And some people might react to that negatively and freak out, but honestly, I have a lot of trust in the guy. And you know, when you're in these playtest environments, you have to be open-minded and test things because that's kind of the whole point of the program. I think during that discussion, me and him went back and forth like 4 times, and I don't think we really ended up agreeing or even disagreeing because it wasn't really that kind of talk. It was more me giving my opinions and him sharing his back, you know. And I'm still not a fan of the dual primary system, but it was great back and forth discussion. And he was definitely listening and agreeing with a lot of my points. And he was very understanding. He wasn't just blowing me off. And again, allegedly, for him to open up and be vulnerable and say, hey man, I get it. I didn't like it either at first, but it's really grown on me and it plays really well despite it needing to be balanced. It was just super cool to me personally. All in all though, guys, my experience in Battlefield Labs so far has been great. I promise you, these guys aren't just using this program as free advertising or false hype. They are actively engaging with the community and listening to feedback to make this game the best Battlefield it can be. And also, I promise you, we are giving great feedback in there, okay? Feedback that aligns with the majority of the community. We aren't just in there fucking around and playing the game and not paying attention, at least most of us. So most of us in there, we're hardcore Battlefield fans. We love the franchise and we want the same things as you guys that aren't in the program. And we are definitely letting it be known to the developers. But yeah, guys, that's going to kind of wrap up the video. If you guys have any questions for me about Battlefield Labs, let me know in the comment section below. I will do my best to respond to each and every question you guys have to the best of my ability. And what are you guys thinking of the multiplayer reveal? Personally, that shit kind of blew my expectations out of the water, boys. Okay, like I had a feeling it was going to be good, but I was not expecting it to be that good and in depth. But what do you guys think? How are you feeling as we lead up to the open beta next week? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. But if you made it this far in the video, I truly do appreciate you. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you are new around here. And until the next one, my name is Sam. Hope you have a good one. Bye.